How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
Well, what a difference a half makes, what a difference a weather delay makes, and what a difference the end of a game and winning a game makes. Welcome to the Cowboys Squad Show. NFL kickoff opening night is here, and it is over. The Cowboys unfortunately come up short tonight. They fall to the Eagles in Philadelphia by the final of 24-20. Great to be with you, though, on this Squad Show. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot of people already chiming in with their comments, which you can do via the comment crew. A lot of people watching us online. That is the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, former Cowboys coach, and it is a pleasure to welcome, making her Squad Show appearance debut in the house tonight, Iisha Morrison.
Hi, gentlemen. Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. I've heard fantastic things about you gentlemen. I've never worked with a former coach or anything like that, so I want to absorb everything I can from y'all and talk some football and talk to these fans, calm them down a little bit, because the way that game ended was not what we wanted. Absolutely. So.
No, it was not, and I think I'll just start here, and we can jump right in, Coach and Iisha. I don't want to temper, because I know the expectations were low. My former colleague, Stephen A., said the Cowboys were going to lose by 14. They shouldn't have even shown up. So there's positive. I loved the first half. I loved the start, but I hated the finish, and it pushed a button with me of just some of the losses that we've seen over the last couple of years, number one, but number two, more importantly, right here and now in 2025, got to win that game. I mean, the Eagles were serving it up on a platter, and I'm all about the season. It's all about this season, and to be able to start the season with a big win on the road like that, I think really could have been huge.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, this is chapter one of the book, and in the book, you already are in chapter one, and you already need to change the narrative of the book, and the narrative is learn how to win. You got to learn how to win. The margin for winning and losing in the National Football League is razor thin. It's razor thin. I don't care who you are. I mean, think about it. This team came in an 8.5-point underdog. They are conditioned to desert for a reason. And the reason is they know how to make money out there. So let me tell you something. In order to show that you are the team that everybody wanted to see tonight, the Cowboys fans wanted to see, now you gotta know that you gotta make that play, and there were plays to be made out there. And guess what? I couldn't have been more impressed with the job that Dak Prescott did. This kid that hadn't played football in over 300 days. I thought his timing would be rusty. I thought his throws would be somewhat off. And let me tell you, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was spot on tonight. I was critical of him not getting some snaps in the preseason. Hey, he looked ready to go, and he looked like the quarterback that they gave that kind of money to. And guess what? You got a young offensive line that stepped up and played about as good as they could play.
Absolutely.
You got a defense. You have a defense that got you one or two critical stops. That's what you needed to win the football game. You also needed to score 30 to win, and you knew that going in. CD, you know it going in, partner. You know it. So you got to make plays. And guess what? They were there, and he didn't make them, whether it was wet, the ball was wet, it's late at night, you didn't like the way that Uncrustable sat in your belly when you went in, okay, fine. But at the end of the day, that's the razor-thin margin for winning and losing in the National Football League.
Yeah, I mean, another part of it is the turnover battle. Like you said, like you're talking about, Stretch, is the fact that turnover in the red zone by Miles Sanders really shifted the game. And I do think if Dallas scores there's a difference in conversation. So that just goes back to what Glenn was talking about with the margin of error. I mean, also too, you gentlemen mentioned, this offensive line. This is also an offensive line, young offensive line that has not played together. So this was our first time really seeing them come together. I like some of the things that they did at the beginning of the game. Obviously, you saw a lot of motions. They were doing some pulling, some pinning, and I was surprised at the efficiency in the run game. We did not know much about what we were going to see coming into this game from the run game perspective. But I was a little bit more confident because Dallas has brought in some of the better run game scheme operators in a Clayton Adams from Arizona, super efficient in his time there. And obviously what Connor Riley was able to do at Kansas State. So I knew that Dallas was going to lean on the run more than what people thought. They did that early in the game, mixed in some passes, just couldn't finish at the end, like you guys said, with those drops and some of that stuff, that miscommunication. But I thought that the Dallas defense did more than enough. 3 stops back to back in that place. I mean, you can't ask for more at that point to me either, guys.
No. They kept giving them the ball back and giving them the opportunity to go out and win it. And that's what I was kind of alluding to. There've just been some games where I feel like they've been left on the table with, and I think that's, and I'm not trying to pick on Dak. I agree with Coach. I thought he had a great game. I'm just saying we know how these narratives and these legacy narratives and everything are formed, and that's just a game you gotta find a way to win. And I know I get the home run hit, and it's easy to second guess, but got to get the first down and you got to keep the ball. And it looked like might have been able to get Turpin underneath to get the first down. Just little things like that. I just feel like
when they show you one-on-one coverage, okay, whether we like it, they like it, you like it, or I like it, at the end of the day, he's the second highest paid receiver in the National Football League.
I mean,
if you see one-on-one coverage, I don't care if it's fourth down, first down, doesn't matter in the game. You have an opportunity to go make the play. He made the throw, and you got to make the catch at that time. I mean, it's that simple.
Oh, sorry, Stretch. And another part of it is, when you talk about those big moments in games, that's who you go to. That's who you go to. I mean, with respect, we didn't see Pickens as much today. I think it is going to take some time for him to acclimate. I know that he and Dak have spent a lot of time outside, but that doesn't mean he trusts him in game yet. And I think we got to see that. Also, too, Shotty said this is a progression offense. So if Dak's first read is CD and he's open, and Adoree Jackson can tell you he had a long night, then that's where he's going to go. And so to Stretch's point, I understand, like, I agree with you, Jeff. I saw there was a couple times on one of those drops, there were some spacing issues because Tolbert is right there in the lane, and I don't think he's supposed to be there. I could tell by how CD was looking, like, what are you in my area for? I think he's supposed to drag that corner out of that play. So there was some miscommunication and stuff too. But all in all, I'm not trying to harp too bad on, like, all of the negatives. I thought this game, for the most part, they played a pretty clean game to make the adjustments that they need to make in the second half, especially defensively. This is the first game of the season. Hopefully they can put it together as the season goes on.
Yeah, I thought on his first drop on that dig, it was Turpin's got to get through there. It's a seam. He's got to get through there.
Clear.
He gets banged up in there. Mm-hmm. And so guess what? There's a little traffic.
Absolutely.
Okay, he didn't clear the safety.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the safety's going to hit you. All right, make the catch. Here's the other thing that I thought was really critical is in that last drive, they got to 3rd and 12, and they did run the motion. So they kicked the corner out from Pickens. Pickens is now in the slot. They run the double out. Mm-hmm. Pickens is over the top of it, one-on-one on the safety. The matchup favored the Cowboys. And guess what? Dak threw the ball. Pickens extends his hands and goes and makes the play on the 3rd and 5. So you got multiple guys that I didn't think he was going to make a lot of plays in the game, but he got interfered with. He was absolutely a factor in the football game. And I thought they put it on him a little bit. And I thought that at the end of the day, it showed that Dak had some confidence right there, 3rd and 5 to throw that deep out to him. So I'm not going to get on here, and I don't want to overreact to the situation. I just want to simply say that you had an incident with Jalen Carter is just unbelievable. I mean, I hope they suspend his ass for a while. And I don't care. They're trying to now say, well, Dak came out and he spit or whatever. At the end of the day, you don't spit on a human being.
Nobody.
And so, you got that break early in the game. I mean, their best defensive player is gone. Then Landon Dickerson goes out midway in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden you got that break. You have to capitalize in those situations, and that's what's frustrating. To me, that's a difference in winning and losing.
Yeah, and then also too, I wanted to also add they Shepley was really moving in between the tackles to start that game, and they lost him to a rib injury as well. So Dallas did have a couple things break their way, like you gentlemen were saying. It just wasn't enough in the end. So yeah, we're here. We're here.
Yeah, what a wild, I mean, just a wild opener. And I mean, let's be honest, it was the kind of the complete opposite, right? I mean, I think everybody kind of thought going in that, okay, the defense would probably be okay, although after the Micah trade, then, well, I don't know, we'll have to see what they're able to do. But the big question mark was, what is this offense going to look like? Because we really didn't get to see them much at all, except for on the practice field. And then they come out and they scored on all 5 possessions in the first half, which was awesome. The first half was great, but then unfortunately they get shut out completely in the second half.
Yeah, it's great on one side of the ball. It wasn't good on the other side of the ball.
Right.
And
I
get it. I mean, you've got guys that are having to get used to playing. I mean, Ezraku just got road handled a couple of times early in the football game, but then he came back and got himself in there. And you know what? You got to keep putting him out there and hope that he'll get used to it. Yeah, you're not playing Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson every Sunday. So, I thought what you saw out of the defense was they kept kind of everything in front of them other than that deep post that they hit. They tackled okay on the perimeter. And then, he brings 2 corner blitzes late. And because they haven't seen the speed of the game, both corners took bad angles. Diggs took a bad angle, and so did Bland. Terrible angle. And so that they'll straighten that out with the speed of the game. But shame on you for not putting them in the preseason a little bit. And I just think you would have seen a better angle, and I think they'll get all that corrected.
Well, I think you'll also see better tackling. There's an acclimation period for a lot of those defensive players to just get the feel of actually bringing somebody to the ground and things like that. And at the beginning of that game, I felt like the edges were getting pinned inside. The coverage on the back end was good. And that was why Jalen Hurts was having to tuck the ball, run, and escape to the outside. I was frustrated because the edges kept getting pinned inside. They weren't being disciplined in that regard. They kept losing contain, and then he was just eking through with those yards. But other than that, in the first half, and then obviously the inability to just get consistent pressure was the biggest thing. But, Stretch, you mentioned the fact that they didn't finish plays. There were times in the first half where there were players in the backfield, and they're, again, taking those bad angles. Like, if they would have finished some of those plays, I think that they would have put Philly in more long third downs, and that's always going to play to your benefit because you already know, gentlemen, a fourth down to them, a third down to them, they're about to go for it. So that was a part of the game that was frustrating in the first half as well, is that there were plays to be made, and these guys just didn't tackle well to start the game.
Yeah.
Happens when you don't play. I mean, it's just part of it. I mean, I think that'll clean up. I thought it cleaned up a little bit in the second half.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of not playing any in the preseason. I'm just not. And so I don't care if it's 1 or 2 series. That doesn't bother me. I mean, I really I thought that tonight I'd come on here and say, boy, Dak looked rusty, but I couldn't have been more wrong in that scenario. So there's a lot of positive to build on here, and you got to think that the Cowboys are going to come on this flight home with a little bit of red ass because they had an opportunity to win the game. But by the same token, I mean, it just went toe to toe with the best team in the National Football League, and what else? What else do they have to look forward to?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, I absolutely agree, because that's what I was thinking the whole time, is nobody really gave Dallas a chance in this game. And they came out, and I felt like they were very poised, and they had a plan, and they executed that plan offensively. Of course, obviously, like we said, the defense took some time to settle down. Philly is a tough match, y'all. I mean, Philly is a tough match, obviously, because of the quarterback. They always have a secondary option. They always have a third option. There's always so many layers to their plays that one question that I did want to ask you, though, Coach, is Dallas opted to not use a spy to start this game. We did see that a little bit later in the game, and it was effective to an extent. Stretch, what are your thoughts about the fact that Dallas decided not to do that, and why do you think that maybe was?
Well, I think they wanted to initially. I think they wanted to cover and keep everything in front of them. I think they were really consistent with saying we're not going to get beat over the top here. Now you've got a corner in Elam that you didn't really know what you had. You have a corner in Diggs who's coming off an injury, and I just think that they were not really wanting to do anything more than commit 4 to the quarterback. They wanted, I mean, for crying out loud, on the second series, or was it the first series, when Philadelphia scored, I mean, Dallas dropped 7 from the 2-yard line playing 2-man. And I didn't understand that. So, you know, I think Matt Eberflus is getting used to that personnel a lot like that personnel is going to be getting used to him. So, you know, we'll just have to see.
No, that's totally fair. I mean, especially on the back end, you got Trayvon Diggs as well, kind of on a pitch count, trying to get a feel for what he's, you know, comfortable doing. And like you said, the confidence in Elam. I do understand them playing it kind of conservative, but they did opt to do that later in the game. And Donovan Wilson, I think, was the person that was doing that, who I think is suited for that job in the first place. So it was just, yeah. I was looking at time of possession and total yardage. Dallas was pretty efficient on third downs tonight, 7 of 11 from there. 370 yards to Philly's 302. Really where the game was changed is the turnover margin and the time of possession. Almost 9 minutes more that Philly had that ball. And I thought that we were going to see that more, but the defense stood up, even though they were gassed, and you could tell it was hands on your knees and huffing and puffing, they stood up and got them off the field. But time of possession played a big role as well in penalties. Yeah,
no doubt. All right, when we come back, we're going to take our first time out. We got a lot of people commenting, a lot more to talk about from this game, the season opener. We've been waiting for it for so long. Finally here. Still a wild game. I mean, we're all frustrated that they lost, but a lot of good things, as Iisha and Coach have said, a lot of good things to build on, and that's what we're hoping to see, that it wasn't just a quick start, and that they'll really improve and build and make a playoff run and get back. That's what we want to see them do. All right, when we come back, we'll get into all of that. We appreciate you staying up late too. It's very late, but not too late for us, right? Not too late, never too late to talk football and to talk about the Cowboys. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, and want to let you know, like right now, like if you're up late, or maybe you were kind of hungry like the Cowboys and didn't get a chance to eat, well, it's almost the weekend, and got to mention DoorDash. But also to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Well, I think without a doubt, Dak Prescott really delivered in a big way, coming back after his absence, did everything that he could, and just the Cowboys were not able to pull it out. But I'm going to say that Dak delivered in this game tonight for sure. And just like Dak delivered for the Cowboys, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits, Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo runs through 11/18. And again, if the player goes on a tear, all kinds of good things, make sure you keep that streak alive with DoorDash. Okay, we are back. The Cowboys Squad Show. Iisha Morrison and the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. Cowboys fall to the Eagles 24-20. One big thing, there's so many things I want to get to, but one big thing, we weren't really sure what this, not only the offensive line, but the running game. What was the running game going to look like? And I don't know about you guys. I was pleasantly surprised with Javonte Williams.
I'm going to tell you something. Javonte Williams out of North Carolina was a hell of a player. And I can tell you Vic Fangio knew that because he drafted him as a head coach when he was with the Broncos. Now, whatever happened, he fell out of favor with Sean Payton. I don't know what happened there, but I can tell you, I had confidence in him. I had confidence in Miles Sanders with his patience. What I didn't have confidence in is him getting his ass walked down by a linebacker.
What?
Crying out loud, you're in the open field right there. If you feel him gaining on you, give me a dart, give me a do something.
Inside.
But when you get walked down, and after a 49-yard run, it's hard to be critical. But for crying out loud, you got to go score there.
Cut inside, brother. Cut inside. Now, granted, it's easy for us to say, but at the same time, yeah, you feel that guy on your hip, turn up field. He had plenty of room there. And I agree. I came into this game. I did a couple of spaces and I was talking to people, and everyone was just like, I don't think Dallas is going to be able to run the ball. I said, wow, who gave y'all that inclination? Why do y'all think that they're not going to be able to run the ball? You don't invest in your offensive line, especially that interior, the way that they have, and you're not going to run the ball. And even though all of those gentlemen are better and are decent in pass pro, whatever the case may be, Cooper Beebe, Booker, and Tyler Smith, their bread was buttered in college in the run game. So yeah. I assumed that Dallas was going to focus on that. Furthermore, again, you bring in a run game specialist and someone like Connor Riley. How can you not believe that they're not going to run the ball? And so a lot of people were unsure about Javonte because of the ACL. He's 2 years removed from the ACL. Does he still have the burst? Does he still have any of that? And I was pleasantly surprised with the way he was able to put his foot in the ground and go. But Dallas was efficient with their double teams. Again, they were bringing some guys around the formation. I thought that the tight ends at times when they would be asked to do those little trap plays, that they were efficient. I do think the run game has a lot to build upon, but I wasn't surprised that Javonte Williams came out and was confident and put his shoulder in people's chest and made them pay.
I thought the tight ends did a great job. They moved the tight ends a lot. You can tell Ferguson, good for them paying him. I mean, he went up in there on the crunch play, which is following the guard. He hit it on the backside one time. They brought him across the formation. Then he went back in and almost got himself in position to really, blocking as a tight end is about having body position. You're in the National Football League, your number one as a tight end is a threat in the deep middle. So you're probably not going to be more than about 245 pounds, and you're blocking a 280 to 290-pound defensive end. So not very often are you manhandling that guy. But I thought he did a great job with his body position. He did a really good job with his control, I'm going to give a lot of love to the tight end. I hated that Span Ford took that shot, but man, that was close to being a big play up the seam. And so you're seeing why they kept him is because he does have, the gear to get through the middle of the field. So there's a ton to build on offensively, and there's a ton to clean up defensively. And my gut feeling is where I thought this Cowboy team was about a 6-win team. I mean, after tonight's game, I can tell you that they're a much better football team than a 6-win team.
That's so interesting. Oh, interesting. Maybe I have like blind faith or something. I don't know, but going out to training camp, talking to the guys, there was and maybe you can attest to this, coach, but there were so many guys that were just ecstatic about the coaching that they were getting. And this is not to say anything negative about the past coaching. I'm just saying that was one of these sentiments, is that these guys really felt like they've had their face in their playbook and they understand what they're being asked to do. So that, to me, them coming out and playing the way they played, I would say I was surprised, but I did feel the energy from them and the certainty and what they thought they could do with the scheme. Now, in regard to the offensive line, when you talk about Tyler Guyton, I think that's something important to touch on. This is a guy
Absolutely.
there was no expectation for him to play until a couple of days ago. We started hearing whispers that he was going to be able to go. With Tyler Guyton, there's times he can get a little bit lazy with his hands. He can put them paws on the outside and things like that. But Dallas didn't give up a sack today. And that was something I was looking at coming into this game, because say what you want to say about Philly, I know they're the reigning champs. They lost some guys. Yeah. They lost some guys in the offseason. And they're still trying to figure out who is going to be their leading edge rusher as of right now. And, Nolan Smith seems like that's who they want to be the guy, Jalix Hunt. But, he had a couple of penalties today. So I thought that you could go at their edges. I did. I definitely thought you could go at their edges. I thought that you could make them that you could attack the edges and be able to get some yardage on the outside. And Dallas did that today.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a lot of props to going back to Javonte Williams. Oh, he blocked his ass off. I mean,
you hear me?
There was a couple of times he chipped the defensive end. There was a couple of times he sat inside. He got to the linebacker. To me, that's why they didn't have a sack. Now, Steele got a little overmatched from time to time, and that's going to happen. And Guyton whiffed one time and got his shoulder turned, and that's going to happen. But what I loved is Williams was there to help kind of clean some of that up, and that's the big thing that you look for, and you hope that kind of stuff rubs off on Jaden Blue. I mean, you really do. Is that my mic that's cutting back and feeding out like that?
I think so.
I've never heard that before out of mine, but I'm getting feedback there.
Okay. Well, sounds okay right now.
Yeah, it sounds better now. In regard to the offensive line, I do think that there were a couple times in that one of those last drives that Tyler Booker, which is something that we saw with him in college, is some of those quick-footed guys he struggles with just getting his hands on them right out of his stance. Also, too, Philly opted to do some stunts. It's very normal. We talked about it, like Stretch was saying, that some of that miscommunication on stunts, being a little late on rotations, that stuff to work on, as Coach was saying as well. So I'm not mad at the offensive line output, especially since this was the first time for real that we have seen this offensive line play together. You can't be too sick about it.
Yeah, I was glad to see Tyler Guyton dominate the way that he did, though. That was awesome. That was really good to see.
Yeah, and with the Coach mentioned the pass pro. That's something that I mentioned in a show that I did earlier, is that collectively from training camp to preseason, one thing that I really noticed is that the running backs seem like they know their pass protection assignments, and that is that they were sound in that in training camp, even in the practice against the Rams. Javonte Williams stood out, even Jaden Blue stood out. But I do think that had something to do, the pass protection and knowing your assignments, and also special teams has something to do with Jaden Blue not getting the start today or not being on the active roster today. I think that, like Coach was mentioning, pass protection was huge coming into this game.
So let me ask you about Miles Sanders. Didn't look great early when he came into the game, but then in the third had a couple of really nice runs before the fumble. What do you take away from that?
Let's remember, these are two different backs.
Yeah.
I mean, Javonte Williams is a bow his neck and tough finish run guy. Miles Sanders is a more patient kind of. He likes to let. I mean, if you saw him at 49-yard run, he really chased the outside hip of the tackle. That's what you want to do. And then when he put his foot in the ground, I mean, he did accelerate. He just didn't have another gear. And you wonder, okay, is that because maybe he was fatigued at the time. I don't know. And then when he ran and he had the 49-yard run, I thought, get him out of the game and bring Williams in, because a lot of times early like that, especially when you're fatigued, and guys are grabbing at the football, I mean, that can happen. So I don't know if Javonte was hurt. I don't know if he was winded at that time. That's the thing we don't know. So I don't like to be too critical of that, not knowing exactly what the scenario was. But I'm still saying it doesn't come down to fumbling the football if he outruns a damn linebacker and scores, which is a running back you got to do.
You're right. How did you gentlemen feel about the linebacker play?
I mean, I thought it was rusty early. I thought Murray looked a little bit. He looked a little bit, like he was not comfortable in the defense. I thought Clark took a couple of bad angles. But again, all of that stuff in my mind gets cleaned up. Now, did Murray get stiff-armed by Saquon? Everybody gets stiff-armed by Saquon. So I think this is going to be really going to be the strength of this football team, because I look for Leofau to get back in there. I really look for Overshown to hopefully, after coming off of this pup in a 4-game set here, he's ready to go. And now when you've got some depth and you've got some fresh guys to roll in there, I think that'll really help you. But tonight, ultimately, I thought that was a group that looked a little rusty.
Yeah, definitely to start that game. And again, there were times that guys were reading the play, overrunning the play, taking some bad angles, like Coach said. But for me, this was our first time seeing Murray. This is my first time really seeing him, even when I was at training camp, because he had baby and he was gone. And so they were kind of slow playing him, and then we didn't see him at all during preseason. And so this is my first time actually getting my eyes on him. And I understand there's an acclimation period and things like that, but it was a bit concerning how uncertain the linebackers looked at the beginning of that game.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it took them some time to settle in. Sanborn is a guy that is going to read. He's going to react. And he's not super athletic. So he's going to beat you with just being smarter than you. And there was a couple of times where he read it perfectly and he just wasn't able to make the play. He just wasn't able to make the tackle. So to Coach's point, those are things those guys are going to have to go up and go clean up because those could have been a lot of negative plays in that first half.
Yeah, no doubt. I think too, just adding to what both of you just said, I think my big takeaway overall, just defensively, was that first half. I was getting scared. Like, are they ever going to be able to make a stop at any point in the game? But to their credit, I thought they really adjusted well, which is what you want to see coming out of the locker room. Then you have the lightning, the storm delay. But then I thought, as you pointed out earlier, Iisha, I thought you couldn't ask for much more than what they did in the fourth. I mean, they got those key stops and gave them multiple opportunities to win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to say this too, though. I thought the linebackers, from a coverage standpoint, I thought they were sound. I mean, Dallas Goedert's is really a heck of a tight end, but he didn't get a lot of he got a lot of catches, but they were right there to make the play on him. So absolutely. You know what? I'll give him those 4 and 5 and 6 yard option routes, that little underneath stuff, as long as you're sound in what you're doing. And I did think that Eberflus had the group sound in what they were doing. The one thing that drives me nuts, though, in the football game is you have about 17 coaches. You can't have 12 on the field. You can't try to play Canadian football that's a critical situation in the game. It's first and 10, and now you decide you're going to doke the officials and put 12 out there, and it's first and 5, and you had a little momentum defensively when you did that. So I mean, there is no excuse. I don't care it's the first game of the year. I don't care you didn't know what the personnel was. I don't give a rip. You can't put 12 and get caught with 12 on the field.
No, I agree. It was a very untimely play for the Cowboys because, like you guys said, I mean, you need everyone. And these folks, The way that they're able to matriculate down the field man, listen, 144 yards passing, 144-yard passing. Now, coming into this game, AJ Brown was dealing with a hamstring. He's been limited in practice. Devontae Smith was dealing with a groin, and he was limited in practice. Do y'all think that had anything to do with the fact that they opted to really not throw the ball downfield at all, or was that just because they felt like they could run, so they did?
I mean, ultimately, they kind of got what they wanted in the first half.
Exactly.
And then in the second half, when they needed a couple plays, I'm not sure it was there. And I'm saying that because Dallas was playing a lot of coverage. I mean, they really were. I thought they were sound in the back end. Now, I'll have to look at it and take a hard look. But I just thought when you're watching the game, I thought Eberflus said, okay, we're not going to let you do this. We're not going to let you hit any home runs tonight. We're going to make you single and double and bunt us to death. But, with those dinks and dunk throws to Dallas Goedert and to the other tight end. So they kind of let them say, okay, we're going to do that. But you also gave up big plays to Hurts and his ability to convert with his legs. And so, I'm just going to say this. You needed to come into this football game offensively and score 28 to 30 points to win. I said it on our last squad show. I've said it on my radio show. They needed to score 30 to win. And I'm going to tell you, they ought to score 30. They got the money spent there. You got the highest paid quarterback. You got the highest or second highest paid receiver. You got a damn high paid tight end. You got a young offensive line. Challenge those guys to go score 28 to 30 a game, knowing that would have won you the football game, and you had an opportunity to do it. That's the thing that's so frustrating.
Yeah, definitely frustrating that they weren't able to. I mean, and I could be wrong, and we have to go look at the film, and I will, when I get it in the morning. But I did feel like at some point in time, like, if this is not working, and I think that you mentioned it, Jeff, is the fact that, there were times where you're just looking for the first down in these moments. You're just looking to keep moving the chains. And I did feel like there were a couple of times there was some urgency. And there's nothing wrong with the urgency. I guess that's natural, but hopefully they're able to settle in those moments a little bit more and get into their best damn play. Marshawn Nealon was another gentleman I was really looking at coming into this game because he had the MCL last year. I felt like he started off really strong, had the MCL last year, comes out today. Really liked how he disengaged and shed and tackled on the edge today. Did you gentlemen see anything from him that stood out and any of these other edges?
I just think Marshawn Nealon did make a few plays. You saw Houston get in there late and make a play. I like that you have fresh guys at that position. That's how they're going to have to do it all year. And hopefully they don't get any of those guys dinged up because none of them are great pass rushers. They're efficient pass rushers, and that's including Ezraku. You got 3 second-round picks in there. You got Ezraku, Sam Williams, and Nealon. They're all second-round picks. They have to produce. That means you're a top 75 player in that draft. And I thought that I thought that Marshawn did a good job, all things being considered. And again, I saw Ezraku just get ragdolled early in the game, but he came back and he made a couple plays. Like I said, Houston made, some plays. So those are your guys right now. That's what you're going to have all year. And you got to hope that they continue to develop and get better. And I believe that Nealon will. I mean, he went out last year with that injury. I mean, the speed of the game, it takes a little time. And it, like they were screaming that they thought they were going to get a holding on Ezraku. I got news for you. When an offensive tackle has his hands inside, he is holding. And guess what? They ain't calling it. So you got to get yourself in position where he moves his hand placement, and then they'll throw the flag. But if you're just standing there thinking they're going to call it, and he's got his hands inside, and he's got a hold of your breastplate, they ain't calling it.
Yeah, that's something that I talked to Donovan Ezraku about at training camp. Is something he's learning. Obviously, coming out of college, he has a toolbox, but his hand usage is something that he is still working. And really what he told me that he is learning is to just not let guys get their hands on him in general. Like sometimes he wants to like take it to the guy, but it's like, hey, if you can beat him off the line, beat him off the line. Another thing about Izaraku that I noticed with him in college is that he's a very smart player. He does take some time to pick up on tendencies. You'll see him throughout the game kind of slowly pick up on guys. And I think to your point, Coach, is that something that will speed up for him as he's in the league, is that he'll be able to pick up those tendencies in game faster and adjust to them. In college, it did take him some time and sometimes to the second half of games to really get a feel for what that tackle was doing to counter him. So again, that's something that I think he's going to have to grow from as well. The only issue with me though is I personally, this is me. I know the Wink Martindales exist and all those people, but I don't like having to always manufacture pressure, because if you have to manufacture it, somebody's a word is out on the back end sometimes. And so whereas I understand and I appreciated that Eberflus understood, hey, we're going to go 5 down. We're going to try to keep these guys from being able to double team us. We're going to try to send some corner and safety blitzes and have them rush the passer on the way to the running back if they need to, if they hand it off. But for me, that does become concerning. It will become concerning later on in the season if this front four cannot manufacture pressure on their own. If you're always having to allocate a safety or a corner to do it, you're going to run into somebody that can what is the word? Sorry. that can take advantage of it. Yeah. That can take advantage of it.
I mean, but that's always been the case, right?
I mean, I know it's always been the case.
It's whoever gets the chalk last is going to win. I mean, that's just how it is. Sometimes you eat the bear and sometimes the bear eats you, but you got to be smart about when you send it and what you do. So, and you're right. I mean, a lot of guys are going to send a lot more pressure than other guys. And Eberflus has never been, he wasn't that way in Indianapolis.
No.
Not big that way in Chicago. But what I like is you can tell the reason that he does that is because he doesn't want to give you the home run. He doesn't, and so, hey, some guys play $50 hands of blackjack. Some guys play $5 hands of blackjack. I can tell you where he's at. He's over at the damn $5 blackjack table. He ain't gambling.
Yeah, it's some give and take. It's definitely some give and take. I will say later in that game as well, you saw that Eberflus was manipulating with the stunts. We're trying to, find some favorable matchups, get some guys free to get to the quarterback. And I thought those, to your point, Coach, were timely in the time in which he did that. He's a super seasoned defensive coordinator. I expect nothing less of him.
All right, we're going to take our second timeout, and when we come back, I want to ask both of you, I'm going to call it an M&M question. So we'll do that when we come back. Also, a couple of really good comments I want to run by both of you as well. Tough one for the Cowboys tonight. They fall to the Eagles in Philly 24-20, but the NFL season is officially underway. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. And I want to tell you a little bit about Mazda and what they're doing right now, because Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Whether it's a quick drive to practice or a weekend road trip, Mazda makes even everyday drives feel special. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, great to be back with you. Wish the Cowboys had won. Cowboys Squad Show. The coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, and Iisha Morrison, 2 eyes.
Yes, with two. Right. My mom got fancy on us. She got fancy.
I like that. Very cool. Okay, so my 2 M&M questions, not 2 eyes, but 2 M&Ms. Mazi, healthy scratch, and what did tonight's defense minus Micah reveal to you, if anything, or is it too early to see what we can expect from this unit without Micah and I mean, they did pretty good, especially in the second half.
What you got, Coach?
Well, I'm would he have probably gotten you one or two more pressures? Possibly. Would he have gotten you maybe one or two critical tackles in situations? Maybe. I think at the end of the day, right now, where I sit here right now, what is this? 5th. We're already into the 5th of September. I don't have a problem with a trade. I mean, I don't think you were going to be very good stopping the run before. And so you had a player who felt like was disgruntled. He whether he didn't shake Jerry's hand, whatever the scenario was probably time to move on. And so I'm one of those guys that I want to get in the windshield. It's 10 times bigger than the rearview mirror. And I want to look at where we're going. And do I wish you still had him? Well, sure. But at the end of the day, you got to think that how young this football team is. And what you saw tonight is think about how young this football team is. They're going to have 4 picks in the first rounds of the next 2 drafts.
What would?
I mean, okay, weigh it out.
All right. What about Mazi, Iisha?
What about Mazi?
The fact that he didn't play and that he was a healthy inactive, what does it say about his future?
It says that this coaching staff, it meant what they said when they said that competition matters here. And if you're not good enough, we're not going to put you on the field. And I know that that's really blunt. And I know that sucks for some people, but the reality is that there was not enough there to validate that. And I understand him being a first round pick. I know Coach mentioned a trade. I personally, unless a team takes him and it's just like, I can fix that, you know what I'm saying? Or I feel like I can really work on that. Defensive tackle is a very nuanced position. It takes time to develop. It takes time for guys to get that, but there just has not been enough constant progression. And also too, within the scheme, I think that some of the stuff that they would want him to do. I mean, today you come out today and also Diggy Zoo is at the 1. Kenny Clark is at the 3. And so some of the stuff that they want to do, mixing and matching guys, I do think don't fit what Mazi does particularly well. So I want to move forward. Like Coach said, I want to put the baddest heifers on the flow. I'm not trying to look backwards if we don't have to. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is for me.
The one thing I'll give Mazi a little break for is he's played for 3 different coordinators in 3 years. Absolutely. I mean, Dan Quinn is going to want something different than Mike Zimmer wanted.
Yeah.
And Matt Eberflus is going to want something different than what Mike Zimmer wanted. So I think that this young man has really been in a tough situation because he was weighing, in the 300s. Then he got down and he was, whether he was worried about summertime and running around in a swimsuit or whatever, he got down to 270 and okay, great. But, at the end of the day, you playing in what Matt Eberflus did in the first game right here is you got to have some lead in your ass to play a double team block because he doesn't want a free release to the second level of the linebacker. He wants the defense to allow in the front to allow his linebackers to run and make plays. Now, you say, well, Zimmer was a double-A gap with his linebackers and what he wanted to do. And so Mazi was asked then, okay, move out there to the outside eye of the guard, move to the inside eye to tackle. And so it's a different scheme. Am I ready to give up on him? Yes. No, I'm not. But you could tell, I mean, they played the Toya kid just because he's got some thickness.
Size. He got some size.
He's not going to make he's not going to create any pressure. He ain't going to do nothing but eat up 2 guys. That's which is what they want him to do. So I'm going to say, hey, Mazi, learn where the Orange W is over by your house. Make sure you get some of them late night double water burgers and pack you a little on.
Man, I mean, Coach, I understand the sentiment and the fact that, there's been multiple coaches, there's been different changes and stuff. And I hold empathy for Mazi in that regard. but a part of me says, unfortunately, that's what this game calls for sometimes. That's what this game calls for. Sometimes that is the nature of the game, is that you might lose your favorite coach. You might have a scheme change. You might have to do these things. And one of the parts of the game that is important, that, as players, they do have to be adaptable. And so I think
one guy wants you 265 and one guy wants you 295. You got to, I understand, but again, if one guy wants you in a staggered stance, if one guy wants you in a more squared stance,
that's huge.
You got to be able to do that. And I think Mazi ultimately, when you watched him coming out of Michigan, was a squared stance inside guy. Then Dan Quinn won him in staggered stance, won him up the field. Then they switched, and I mean, I'm just telling you, I'm not ready to give up on Mazi, but I'll tell you what, it's close. I mean, he's really close to becoming the next Taco Charlton, the next Michigan guy that, possibly, won't have a place. So it's unfortunate, but I want to see him, though. I want to see him get his confidence back. There's times when I have seen him get some confidence in what he's done, and he'll show you he can play. It's just not consistent.
Yeah, it's the consistency, because there are times that you would see him. I mean, even against Philly last year, you see him penetrate, you see him do what he needs to do, some splits, some double teams, stuff like that. But it's the consistency, and that's something that Brian Schottenheimer has mentioned multiple times during his time as the head coach so far. So for me, I just want whoever on the field to be capable and willing to do what they need to do. The defensive tackle position for Dallas is a position that I feel like has been malnourished for a while. So this isn't just solely on Mazi, like you said. Yeah. But at this point in time, I don't know if that is, something that's conducive to, moving forward at this point. But if they put him out there, let's see what happens.
All right. One final thing before we take our last break. Coach, and Iisha, you mentioned Brian Schottenheimer. What did you guys think of his debut and the job he did tonight, Coach? What we weren't really sure.
I'm gonna let the lady go first.
Oh, tater tots. Okay. No, I think at the beginning of the game it was very balanced. Obviously, he did a lot. I mean, the uptick in motions, I can't wait to see the numbers. Is that there's a motion on really every play, and it was enough. It was enough to hold some of those linebackers and to get some information as they needed. I thought that the beginning of the game, I thought that the first half of the game that they came out and they had a plan and they executed it. I thought it was efficient. You didn't have a lot of penalties on offense, so it wasn't a whole bunch of drive stallers. I thought that was a good sign as well. Obviously, Philly far more penalized than the Cowboys. I believe Dallas had 4 for 44, I believe, on the day. And as much as I don't want those penalties, that's a good start for a team that has been top of the league, most penalized in the NFL for quite some time now. In the second half, I do think that there was some trouble adjusting to the adjustments. I really want to see. I didn't get to see. I don't know, Coach, you got to see what differences Philly did in the second half in comparison to the first. Yeah, it was a little bit more pressure. But I wanted to ask Coach, did you see how they were manufacturing the pressure?
Yeah, they started bringing 5 a little more. I mean, Fangio is one of those guys that, I mean, he's the same way. He didn't want to give up the big home run, but he started bringing 5 a little more, and it created a few matchup issues for the tackles. But overall, I thought that he called a really good game. I thought he got his players in position multiple times to make plays. And to me, that's what an offensive coordinator does. He gets his guys in position to make plays. I thought he managed the game pretty well. I thought the time management was done well. So everything was good, except we're post September 1 now, and you got to put a hat on. You got to get out of the visor. You don't wear a straw hat to the National Finals Rodeo. You got to kind of take that off.
Let him wear that dang hat. Let him wear that dang hat.
I want him to wear a hat. I don't want him to wear a visor.
Let him wear that visor.
That's a little shout out to my man who passed today, man. My suit designer who passed today. He'd tell you the same thing.
You hating on that man's visor?
No, I'm a visor guy, not post September 1. You just don't. It's just,
It's against the rules. It's like the white after Labor Day.
It's a fashion faux pas.
Glenn,
I'm all ears.
Coach Stretch, fashion
all ears.
icon.
You're 2 for 2. Hit the trifecta.
You would look. I could see you coaching an Armani suit. You would look good.
I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all.
All 6'7", they'd have to kill a lot of cottons to make that thing.
I'm sick.
All right. One more timeout. When we come back, we got a few minutes left for some final thoughts, and we'll also look ahead to this week. And Cowboys have some time to get ready for the home opener against the Giants. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, I want to talk to you about FanDuel because, as you know, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Cowboys Squad Show with Iisha Morrison and the coach, former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there with us tonight and staying up late. Really appreciate it. Shout out to you guys. Love you guys. And we'll be back with you after the game next weekend, and we have our squad show coming up on Wednesday, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be kind of a surprise. We'll see each episode. Stay tuned, as they say in the business. So let me ask you this. I don't want to. It's like it was a rough night for CeeDee Lamb, but I mean, he's made some really great catches in his career. He's made some great catches being hurt. So I don't want to bang on him too hard, but I don't know, Coach, just from a coaching standpoint, you're in the locker room, you got the long flight back and you got a lot of time. So what's your takeaway from tonight? You got
to go put your arm around him. I mean, you need him to win. You need him to make those catches. He's aware. He knows he should have made those plays. And you know what, whether it was a weather issue, whether it was whatever the scenario was, whether somebody flashed in front of him, whether he saw Turpin not get through that middle and he was a little bit afraid of that safety splitting his chin open. Hey, those things happen. But at the end of the day, I guarantee you CeeDee Lamb will tell you he should have made those catches. And if he would have made those catches, it would have made a difference in the game. And he knows that. So you got to have him. All I'd do is tonight, I mean, I would make sure that I went to him and told him to, you hold your head up, you'll handle yourself with class, you go be a professional. You come in tomorrow, we're going to look at this film and we're going to make these adjustments. And guess what? You get yourself ready to get back to the Pro Bowl here because this is what you want to be and this is what you want to do. And that's really all you can do as an outsider. Looking in, is it frustrating? Hell yeah, it's frustrating. And it's really frustrating because he's capable of doing it. So, I mean, at this point, all you can do is love him up. I mean, he's yours. He's yours. You got him.
It's your baby. It's your baby. No matter if it's ugly or not, it's your baby. No, I mean, I get it. It's uncharacteristic of him in this way. Coach, I do want to ask you though, is football, in your opinion, like basketball in a sense where if a guy is having those problems, were you expecting for Dak to go elsewhere? Or do you just keep, if a guy's in his head, and it kind of seems like he's in his head, how do you balance not taking away his confidence by not giving him the ball, but also involving the other guys while he is trying to get a feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. How do you balance that?
I mean, I can tell you this. I mean, football at the end of the day is the toughest of all games. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, basketball guys, they lay their ass on that floor. Baseball guys will lay around. I mean, you get knocked down ever playing football, and you got to get up. And that's what football teaches you. It teaches you about life lessons, about get up, dust yourself off, and go try again. And so I know CD knows that. I'm going to go back, though, to answer this question. What I love that Dak Prescott did today was he took what the defense gave him. Yeah. I mean, they brought the slot blitz. He went immediately to the backside and ripped the hitch out of there. He saw the middle of the field open. He tried to stick it in the seam. So I think Dak's going to keep going to the guys that the defense dictates him to put the ball on those guys. I'm going to tell you, and I'll be honest, and I'm going to come on. I'll be on Sunday night on Channel 8, and I'll tell Joe Trahan, I have not been a big Dak fan. I haven't. I'm critical, non-critical, whatever. I mean, my point of reference was Troy Aikman. That's not fair a lot of times to compare him. But I tell you something, I saw Dak Prescott, in my mind, take a big step forward, and it was a step forward that I wasn't sure he had. I really wasn't. You can go all the way back in college when he got his team number 1 in the country, and at Mississippi State, they lost 3 of the last 4. And I thought, well, is this going to follow him? And then it feels like it has. It feels like it's kind of, he got 12 wins and he couldn't get over, and he, threw some really bad picks. But tonight, coming off a 300-day layoff, to go to go and put the football, drive the nose of the football in tight windows, tells me that he's been working his ass off, and maybe he is ready to finally take that step forward. Now, I'm going to say this. Don't go out and lay no damn egg against the Giants. Go out and keep going. But I thought he took a big step, and I have to take my hat off, and it ain't a visor. I'll take my hat off to the fact that he got it done, and he's better. I can honestly say I think he's better than what I even remotely thought he could be.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of that first game. What was that? Was it 2022? One of those games, that Bucks game. At home, he had been off from the injury, comes out, and they just toss that ball around like it's nothing. And I will say, in watching Dak in training camp, so you know how you mentioned Troy, Glenn. Dak is my quarterback. Dak is my first quarterback outside of Tony Romo that I've watched from college till now. And it is very clear early in games with his mechanics what type of day it's going to be. For real. Like, you can tell very early if he's toesy or if those balls are sailing on him, that it's not going to be a good day. One thing I talked to him about at training camp was how much he's been working his mechanics. He's put a lot of work into his body. The older that you get with some of these guys, they got to lean out. Dak's been a heavy guy. He's kind of a big guy, and you see that he's leaned out and he wants to be more mobile. He wants to do things on the move. And I think we got to see some of that today from an efficiency standpoint, some clean pockets for him as well. I think that played a big role too.
All right. Well, with that said, we'll leave it there for tonight, but we'll be back again. And again, I want to say thank you to everybody for jumping in. Thank you for all of the comments. Marvel Jesus, thank you for the insult. God bless you. And hey, don't forget, we got the daily.
Was that a sneeze or what happened?
We got the daily Locked On.
God bless you. I thought you gave it one of them good West Coast.
We got the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast with Marcus and Landon. Don't forget to check out. I know they're going to have a lot to say about this game, but Iisha, great having you on. Yeah, it was great. You crushed it. That was awesome. And we'll look forward to doing it again a week from Sunday, but enjoy the rest of opening weekend in the NFL. Coach, great job. Thank you. Thanks for staying up late. And
when we going again? Wednesday night?
Yes. Wednesday night for us.
Don't get confused. Don't get confused with the Rangers. I know because the Rangers have lost 2 in a row. You're over there pouring peanuts into Dr. Pepper and pouting. You thought the Rangers.
I need a
Got
nap.
a big weekend series.
You need a nap.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.